While with most products, it is very easy to tell from the start whether it is going to be a good purchase or a bad purchase. Sometimes things aren't quite that clear. Today we are taking a look at the Sound Blaster X5 from Creative. This is a company that typically makes products for gamers. This sound card has impressed me in many ways. This is the X5 and I actually started being an audiophile with a creative sound card. So many years before I even had a K1 G3 DAC or music player, I did have a little creative sound card and I had it connected to a 5.1 system that I had set in my room. That system was a lot of fun. It created some really wicked 3D soundstage effects and it was a lot of fun to listen to. So Creative has a special place in my heart. This company has made something that I truly enjoyed. I did skip most of their products until today when we are reviewing the X5. Well, this is basically a sound card and a headphone amplifier. The unit I had back then was not a very good headphone amplifier. It could drive headphones, but it was not great. I don't even remember the name. It was something X Fidelity or something. Today it is time to see the X5. This is a $300 DAC amp. It has a USB input, an optical input and a line input. It has a line output, an optical output, and it has two headphone outputs, one in a single-ended 3.5mm format and one in a 4.4mm balanced format. The balanced output is better, that much is easy to tell from the start, so if you are driving single-ended headphones, you are missing on the whole sound of the Creative Sound Blaster X5. What does it blast? It blasts music. It is quite good at blasting music. It has a lot of buttons and you typically don't touch most of them, especially if you aren't a gamer. And even if you are a gamer, you typically will configure it once and you'll be done with it. So we have a microphone input too, which I have not used because I do not have a microphone with a 3.5mm jack. I only have XLR microphones that need phantom power. So I cannot really test the microphone. It has a display and you can click on the display button to cycle through the display options. It can show you the current volume, the current DSP mode. We have Bluetooth input, but it is not great because it only supports SBC and it sounds considerably worse than the USB or the line in. We have an on-off switch that you can press and it stays pressed while it is turned on. We have a mute microphone button, which will be useful for gamers. I reckon this is a pretty useful feature. And we also have the unbalanced and imbalanced headphone outputs. We have a button for headphone or speaker, so you can switch between having the output for the headphone output or the speaker output, so the line out at the back, which is cool because I did use this one as a DAC for a stereo system. It is quite good at that. We have a button for direct or DSP, so the direct mode will output the sound unaltered. It is the sound that it is being fed from the computer and it will output that sound to the headphones or to the speakers. While having a DSP means having some kind of processing. It is not very user editable and it is pretty good though. In sound it actually is quite good, but in my honest experience I have noticed that using the DSP will be a bit more problematic. So there have been a few bugs. I do not recommend using the DSP mode as it is right now, but most of the bugs that I've noticed have been with Adobe Premiere, which has some latency problems with other sound cards too. So this one was not the only sound card that had some problems. So I think that for most users it will be fine, but I do have a bit of a configuration problem at my computer. So I cannot really comment on that yet. I will be doing more tests, and if you see me saying in the full written review that it works alright, then I managed to sort things out. We have an EQ button which allows you to cycle through the EQ modes. And as I said, it has a few EQ options that sound quite good actually. We have a PC/console button, which I assume will switch between USB 1 and USB 2 as modes. So the USB 1 mode is compatible with most consoles. And we have a high gain or normal mode. Now, the unit itself is a bit plasticky. Most reviewers have said this and I will say it too. It is quite plasticky. It is made of plastic. It has some handling noise, but only externally. You don't get this noise in your headphones. But yeah, it isn't the most solid unit out there. I think that it is quite large. So the problem here is that the unit is a bit too large for what is inside. So my guess is that on the inside there is a very small PCB or actual electronic card, and the chassis is just a bit too large. The chassis is made of plastic and it doesn't feel like the best plastic. This feels like a plastic I could scratch easily, but otherwise it is a pretty solid unit. It has very long and very solid rubber feet. It doesn't slide on my desk, and it is better than most Chi-Fis are when they are entry level. But at $300, some products from SMS Sal and Aoshida tend to be more solid in the build. The Type-C USB input is love. I love that. You have to have the Type-C USB populated so that you can allow it to draw power, since it cannot draw power from either the line in or the optical input. So there will always be a USB Type-C cable connected to it. It will always be connected to a computer. The creative software for it runs quite smoothly, but it has 5 separate programs which are installed at all times. Doing more tests in the full written review, it will be interesting to see. It has a large metallic volume wheel, and clearly this part is heavier. So you can see that part is a bit heavier. So I think that most of the weight is around the volume wheel. So the sound, well, I actually was shocked by the sound. It wasn't surprise. It was pure shock. Actually sounds amazing. And I don't even know why. This is $300 and it is made for gamers. So nothing so far makes it a likely candidate for something that sounds awesome. If you're being honest, it sounds awesome with full-sized headphones and over the balanced headphone output. So the single-ended headphone output, it's okay, it is not bad, but it is nowhere near as good as the balanced headphone output. Over the balanced headphone output, the sound is not only good, it is able to fully drive HiFiMan HA 1000 Special Edition, one of the headphones which is pretty hard to drive in my book. It is able to drive Audeze LCD5, two flagships, two of the best flagships that I've heard. You need to pay at least $1,000 to get the same level of quality as a $300 gaming DAC amp can provide them. And that is abnormal. At least in my book, it is not something that I expected to do. I am having it set on direct, and I don't even think that it has any kind of DSP or processing or enhancements. It just has explosive dynamic. That is the best way to describe it. So it is named Sound Blaster. Well, that is pretty much how it sounds. It sounds blasting. It blasts you with music. It creates such a convincing impact, such a punchy sound, and such a great resolution. It's mesmerizing. I don't want to give you like, okay, buy this unit. It is not that simple because the unit has some minor disadvantages. So as you can see, it does crackle a bit. The construction quality is not where I would have wanted it to be. But the sound alone when driving headphones, especially over-the-ear headphones, is something that I have not heard in a long time at $300. In fact, I have never heard this kind of sound at $300. It can sound better than most DACs below $1,000, and that is concerning because it doesn't have any reason to have this construction. The unit itself is a mystery to me. It's such a special unit, and at the same time, it is not easy to recommend it. For example, over the single-ended headphone output, it has a pop sound when you insert or take out the headphones, which is not a pleasing experience and could damage your headphones. Over the single-ended headphone output, it has a slightly warm, slightly smooth sound that doesn't have nowhere near the dynamics, resolution, and clarity the unit has for the balanced headphone output. Over the line out, it sounds quite good. I actually love the sound over the line out, but it is quite noisy. It has somewhat of a noticeable noise floor. It is okay, but it is noticeable. So what you would expect for $300, it is not perfectly quiet, but it is not bad. With most active speakers, you will not notice it, and especially not with gaming speakers or anything gaming related. You will not notice any of the flows that I'm mentioning. I am noticing those flows on equipment that costs over $3,000. It has advantages that it shouldn't have for a unit at this price point. At the same time, if you are using EMs, it has a somewhat high noise floors and it has some hissing. So you can always hear us in the background. And that happens with the unit, especially if the EMs are very sensitive. But for full-sized headphones, it is one of my favorite DACs at below $1,000. It is simply magical. And it shouldn't be magical. It should be a gamer unit that I could recommend for gaming. But I actually recommend it for music. You have to hear this to believe that something like this is real. Once again, it isn't expected to sound like this. I was not expecting it to be this good. I was just joking to myself, wow, I will be reviewing a creative unit. Who knows, maybe they improved since I was young. But they didn't just improve, they created something that has such a contrasty presentation. So the unit is not heavy, it doesn't inspire weight, it doesn't inspire like it has a lot of stuff going on the inside. It doesn't inspire trust in the plasticky build, but it does inspire me when I'm listening to it. At the most serious and honest way, it sounds absolutely amazing with headphones, especially over the ear hard to drive headphones. The DAC is not something special as far as I know, there is no unique technology implemented. The company just managed to somehow make one of the best sounding balanced headphone outputs and put it in a gamer DAC amp. The microphone input will likely be okay because Creative knows how to make those, they typically sound very good. But once again, I would absolutely, and I mean absolutely, purchase this for the headphone output. It's that good. It is so good that I can easily recommend it above the likes of GDS Labs Element 3 Mark II Boosted if you are just using the headphone output for hard to drive headphones. GDS Labs has an EQ, but this one tends to have better overall dynamics, better clarity, and somehow better resolution for the balanced headphone output. GDS Labs is single-ended though, and for single-ended headphones it is likely going to sound better. You cannot connect a single-ended headphone to the balanced headphone output. You need a headphone that is balanced and which has a balanced cable. So there will be some drawbacks if you want to get this one, but just as my honest opinion, as Audiophile Heaven and as George, your host here, the Sound Blaster X5 is considerably better than I expected. It does many things much better than I expected. It delivers an experience that is a mixed bag. So the plasticky build is something we can't ignore. But at the same time, when I am plugging headphones into it, especially when I'm plugging Headphone Heshe 1000 Special Edition, Headphone Audivina, or Audeze LCD5, I can totally forget and forgive that it is a unit made for gamers. I can forget and forgive that it is a bit plasticky. The design isn't my cup of tea, but I can absolutely forgive that. When I hear how it sounds like, I am just having a blast with it. So Sound Blaster will give you a blast in every way possible. It is going to be the most mixed feelings DAC that I have ever reviewed. Don't take that as a negative. I do recommend it, and I think it is a great headphone amplifier DAC if you have large hard to drive headphones. Try to listen to this advice. If you are going to be using it for what it is made for, you are going to love it to bits. If you are going to purchase this as a generic unit, if you have VMs, I wouldn't really recommend it because of the noise floor and because of the popping sound over the single-ended headphone output. And as a desktop DAC, if you have speakers, especially active speakers, below $1,000, you are going to have a lot of fun with the Sound Blaster X5. At the moment I am making this video review, it is available on the Creative website. It should soon become available on Amazon, so I'm hoping you will be using the purchase links in the video description. Also, please subscribe to Audiophile Heaven. Your subscribe means a lot to me. Please like the video if you enjoyed the content, and absolutely, you must do this. If you have watched until now, please do this. Have a lot of fun out there. Bye!